Hey guys, it looks like we are live again. I am tinkering around with a bit of stuff. I was just gonna sit at my craft desk and start playing, which I've been doing since I got home from my trip to North Carolina, which was amazing, by the way. And the jewelry worked out perfect. It was stunning. Don't have any of that sitting here. So yeah, oh well. But anyway, I was gonna tinker around a little bit, do a little show and tell of what I've been playing with the last couple of days. Let me go ahead and share this to Facebook just so we know that we're live post. And I think I'm on the wrong Facebook. And now I'm getting scrambling, finding the right buttons to hit because it's not the way it goes. I need to swap. There we go. Swap. Anyway, so one more button to hit. Sorry guys, give me just another second. Share and Facebook. There we go. That's the right one. Oops. Sweet. All right, so we should be up on Facebook now, and we're findable there, and we have our thing here. And where I am at. All right, so this is what I've been kind of tinkering around with. These are kind of a few of my favorite sets. I've been doing bead logs. I've been making beads for essentially for bracelets, I think, for the most part. That's a cool. They're not strung yet, but they're just stuck on a dowel. But yeah, so this is kind of what I've been playing with. And I need to mix up some more of that tealish colored clay because I'm liking it. And I'm almost out, and I need to make more before I don't have a sample to match. That's the backs of those. Yeah, so I figured I'd tinker around, show you guys what I was doing. I love the way these came out. This is, oh, that was, the pattern for that is not so large flowers. So that's this guy. So you can see the little elements of those flowers all through there. It's a really good flower pattern from Okumegane. I'm liking that one a ton for it. And then these guys are actually the rough pebbles. Do I have one of those sitting over here? There it is. So I actually think I did it with the debossing one because, oh, wait, the log is debossing. And then that's the cuttings. Yeah, so these are the logs for that, which I haven't made into anything yet because I haven't decided what I want to do with them. I want to make them into some sort of jewelry, and I think they're just so cool. Like all the color change and everything in that. And yeah, so this is essentially what got me wanting to video for you guys is I love the way the color change is working. So I was going to show you how I did that, but I want to make up more of that teal because the teal's awesome. And then I've got that run into a few different things. So that's all of those. I don't want to leave these set. These are essentially photo boxes. I get a big old case of them on Amazon, and they work great for storing my bead logs. So if I don't feel like finishing everything in the moment, I can come back to them later. But yeah, so that one is, I forget the name on this one all the time, but it's one of my graphically swirly ones. So that's that one. But yeah, so that's what that one is. That's the tiny butterflies. That was a debossing. This I'm sure was debossing. What else? But yeah, oh, that's butterfly wings. That's not got the cool multi-tonal thing that I want to do, but it's just was on my desk, so I finished it into something, and now it's sitting there waiting to be finished into something else. But yeah, so and then these guys are really pretty too. Let me put those away because we don't need those for now. And I'm loving the way these were coming out. So that's also that same type of mixed coloration thing, and I'm absolutely loving the way the colors are playing through that. So, and this is that not so large flowers, the same as that log or these guys. This is daisies, is the patterns there. But yeah, so I'm absolutely floored with how those are coming out. I think those are super pretty sets. So at some point I will finish them for myself because I will wear those. Oh, and I love the backing on that. That looks like fossilized coral as the backing. That one's got that swirly texture. I'm gonna have to look up what I had that saved as. That one's a newer texture, so it's not in my brain yet. And then those are really pretty. And then those are some of the earring pieces to go with those. So, got my camera a little lower today. which means I need to stay aware of where my hands are under the camera. And I'm trying really hard to stay talking to the microphone because I know that's always a hard thing for me. Keeping my voice aimed at the microphone. But I'm working on it, guys. Trying to learn how to do video as well as crafting at the same time. Oh, and I ended up getting some new Dremel bits to finish off my polish on this stuff, and I'm liking it. I don't have, let's see if I turn the overhead light on it. That'll give me better ability to show you the sheen on those. Yeah, we're getting a little more metallic showing up. And you're able to catch the sheen a little better because now we have light to reflect off of. Yeah, so that's buffing, sanding and buffing with the blocks that I always use, and then I added a little rotary buffer to it, which is getting me that final level of just satiny, sheeny that I like a lot. And these guys are just scrap beads that got rolled out that I really liked. So, you know me and my scrap logs. Always making stuff with scrap logs. I love them. Yeah, so those should be pretty cool. I figure that'll end up making a necklace of sorts going back and forth between the big ones and the little ones. So yeah, I think that'll be pretty. I haven't made it yet, but the parts are there. Don't know how long they'll be sitting there, but they're there. Yeah, and then these are some more logs of that. These days. Oh, these are cuttings, shavings from that daisies put onto that dark purple, which I love still. I love this one. I love how that looks like an upright with leaves falling down. Love that. And then a little earring set to go with it. Get you guys. So yeah, so that's kind of what we're planning on tinkering with today, is just something in the range of these. We'll see what ends up getting made. I don't even know what roller I'm going to use yet. I've just been in that super ADD mode. Comes along with the exhaustion of being out of town for a week and hanging with the family and doing all that sort of stuff. My sister got married. She's run off to Utah. I'm very sad about it. But yeah, so I am now in ADD hyperfixation craft mode. So I figured rather than just doing it all by myself, I'd bring you guys along for at least some of it because I can, and the dogs are quiet and probably should. But yeah, so we'll keep playing with making pendants and beads and logs and all the fun stuff. Let me figure out where I was putting things away. Okay. So this was the block that I was using to make the multicolor cool effect. So it's basically just a chippy choppy block. I brought my sister-in-law talked me into bringing a pile of clay stuff up with me. I brought a whole big Tupperware full of stuff. My mom was so annoyed because he let the kids start playing. I've got, gosh, how many even nieces and nephews? I've got so many. My sister has 2. Now she's got a 3rd one with the marriage. One of my brothers has 2, and my other brother has 4. So you can imagine the craft table that happened there. And mom's like, clean all this up before the wedding. Stop making messes. It was hilarious. But anyway, so yeah, the kids started playing with clay. So I got tried to limit how much they were playing with, but I ended up with like all sorts of cool new colors mixed up by them, including this great teal. And this is my 2nd iteration. Oh, there's a pink floating around here somewhere. I've lost track of it. Oh no, you know how that. Oh, there it is. Yeah, they mixed up this. This is great. There was a pink log. I never play with pinks, so yeah, my sister's daughter is a pink nut, so she's just mixing all sorts of pinks into everything else, and yeah, it's kind of like a pinkish, mauve-ish, purplish. It's a good pink. I like it. Anyway, shows up a little more neon on my camera, but maybe in cell phone land it'll look better. But anyway, so this teal is like, so teal and here is what they mixed. That's as close as I got, but I think theirs was just a little tealier, but it's okay. I like them both. So yeah, I figured I'd try to mix up something. There's a sage. I'm pretty sure that's a sage green, just a straight up sage green. That I know is just a straight. I'm pretty sure it was this guy because I know I had a block of this up there that they were playing with. This is aqua metallic. And I'm not sure if this is still on Sculpey's website. I bought a whole pile of them because I thought it was the best teal ever. And now I changed my mind and I want different teals. And then this, I know, obviously, this was in play some, but it's got some of the metallic in it. Or maybe, no, that's what that is. This one is forest green mixed with pearl. This is forest green mixed with white. This was out of this. could actually probably just use that whole chunk, but that's got a lot of greens and stuff in it. This would be a good. Oh, and that purple. I don't know how they made that purple, but man, oh no, I kind of do. What was the pink? I don't remember. Rats. Anyway, that's a great purple. So yeah, let the kids start playing, and you get some cool. Oh, actually, do I still have those floating around somewhere? My nephew made up something. My nephew, my youngest nephew, my youngest brother's kid, was having a blast mixing and making messes, and he used so much clay up. It was absurd. But yeah, so he's all of like 5, maybe 6. I think he's only 5 still. And he made these, got them cut out. But like, look at the blend of the colors and stuff. Like, he started figuring out when to stop and got some really cool color blends and things. I wish I'd taken more pictures of what he made up, but yeah, it's kind of cute and interesting. I think that's my swirly dragonflies. So that's the pattern in there. But yeah, so he was having some fun. A little wild man stealing all the clay. It's like hard to slow him down. And then I realized how cool the stuff he was making was. Like, all right. Keep playing. Have your fun. I have way more clay at home. I actually almost made the mistake. I needed to order fresh clay, so I needed my big logs, my big chunks of my black, white, pearl, translucent white, and what else do I keep on hand? I keep ecru on hand, but I think I still had plenty of that. But yeah, so I needed to order up, my big blocks, and I needed to restock some colors. So I placed an order with Blueberry Beads. I love Blueberry Beads for ordering clay because they do usually have their clay is almost always fresh, like super fresh. So, and I try to order that big order. So if you're over 250, I think it is, you end up with a 20% off. So it drops it back down to $200, and I think that's worthwhile. So it's just try to bulk order all my big blocks of clay and add a bunch of colors in. But anyway, so yeah, that's definitely that deal. Yeah, so I was gonna have it shipped up to North Carolina. And I thought about it for a second. I'm like, that's a terrible idea. Don't do that. Don't do that. Send it home. I've got people coming to take care of the dogs. Someone can put it away for me and get it out of the sun. And don't send it to North Carolina. So I brought like all kinds of, just extra stuff that, I've got boxes of stuff that I started working with and I never finished, random colors. So I just grabbed all the surplus stuff and brought it up there. I think we're better off without the upper light on. I think we're getting inside. Whatever. I'll leave it on for now. If we don't like it, we'll turn it back off. I get spots. That's what happens, but the lighting's good. All right, whatever. It is what it is. So let's start playing. I want to try to make this color. I know the kids were mixing like this in with some black and getting some cool texturizey something, but I think it was the metallic version of this. So that's why I think I'm going to throw a little bit of this in there. So let's just I want a good bit of this made up too. So like half and half. That's about half and half. Put those aside. I don't know why I'm, you know what? Mix it all together. Just make it all. And then that means I'm probably about 1 to 1 to 1 with black. Okay. So we're going to call this our color recipe for now. Am I in screen? There we go. In screen. Calling that our color recipe at the moment. I'm going to mix these and then fade in the black. If you don't have this metallic, whatever it was, aqua metallic, straight from Sculpey, it's obviously very similar to this, just a lot more pearl white. So I would just take your forest green and mix it down with a bunch of pearl white and just keep dropping it until you get something like that if you want. So that's kind of, I could just add pearl white to this mix, or I could use this because I know that's how I made that and I like the metallic in it. So that's what I'm going to do. So that has been made up recently or mixed up recently. So that's got some movement to it. This stuff's stiff. Oh, it's stiff and crumbly. Oh, it's going to be messy. All right. Ooh, you're crumbly. Yeah, it's going to take a minute and a half to wake up. I guess I should have done that before I turned on the camera. Oh, well. Oh. Put a little muscle into that. I'm waking up the dogs. I'm talking so much. They want to play along. And then this black is always absurd. Why am I doing that? That's a terrible idea. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, the black's always absurdly soft. So, yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and just mix these guys down because I know I want this. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to do. And I try to show this on my live streams every so often. I love my Ed Street pasta machine because it's epic. You just pull those little rods. You saw they're stuck in their little spot. You just pull them downward, take them out, and I'm going to wipe these out because I have no idea what I've been messing with and mixing up. So I want to get rid of whatever scrap mess is in there. And I figure it's good for you guys to see how that comes apart and goes back together. So then those guys just sit lightly in there. Put your rods back in and make sure they center so they catch on both ends. They can come out either end, so they just kind of have to find their center spot again. And that one's clean. In and in until it just kind of lightly catches. All right, both of those are caught up. And motor side that way. You remember to not talk while the motor's running because that always gets loud for you guys. So shh. Crumbly. So if I'm dealing with something crumbly and I know I'm mixing it with something that's already soft, I tend to try to get both textures in together as quick as possible because the softer stuff will help to lighten up the crumbly stuff. And I know I'm going to end up with a whole mess of crumbles underneath. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll just chuck a piece of paper under there to catch it, make it easier to clean up. But you see how that already is starting to get pressed into the softer clay? So it's not making as much of a crumbly mess as it would have. So I close it into and try to sandwich it into the softer clay so that we get the crumbles kind of locked in. And then it starts to do that weird thing. It needs a minute to wake up. Ugh. Getting there. Too long. Crumbly mess. Even crumblier mess. So I will admit, you can use that effect for some patterning and stuff if you ever get bored and want to try for other effects. I like the way that comes out a lot, actually. So, yeah. It's sticky. Messy. Holy smokes. So one way to try to have a little less of this crumbly mess all over the place is if you warm up that metallic that was being so naughty. So press between your hands, try to just get it a little warmer and a little more awake before you stick it in a pasta machine. Especially if I had a handle pasta machine, that would probably be even more of a wreck because I don't have that beastly powerful motor to force it through anyway. So that'd probably be a little bit of an arm ache. So you can just kind of play with it between your hands and just kind of get it to warm up a little bit first. Sometimes that's a great idea. Back to it then. And we're getting there. Less and less of the flake. All right, mixed enough. I'm going to actually make it there a second. I'm going to stretch this out. I know that's soft. go. And then the other thing I want to do, just for the heck of it, I actually want that in one layer. Should be good on that. Is I want to, oops, sorry guys. So these are my Skinner Blend cutters. Okay. My Skinner Blend cutters. I just want to myself a pair of triangles here. Right. That aside. Set that aside. Grab you. Pick up your scraps. You pick up your scraps just because you can. All right. So what I want to do is I just kind of want to see at what point we have a nice blend on this. So how much black to blue, and then I'm probably going to keep the Skinner Blend for something to chop up. So. So always fold where the colors are on top. Folding. Starting to see the blend come in. A lot of times it'll often start to get too wide for you. So I'll usually just kind of push the ends and just kind of smooshy it back in together a little bit. See what a funky tealy green that ends up bringing up? Pretty color. Oh, there we go. So I'm starting to see the color banding. So you can almost use that to decide at what point you want to call it the color range. So this is straight teal just on the very end, straight black on this end. And then you can see each of those bands starting to show up. You can kind of pretty much say like, here's right in the middle. So that's roughly what 50-50 of the two colors are. I'm thinking that's actually pretty spot on to 50-50. So we may end up needing more black than I thought we would. Yeah. I might mix two. I might mix a chunk at 50-50 and I might mix a chunk that's lighter because I like that too. But let me finish this. Yep, starting to get messy again. Yeah. That looks like that will have some interesting visual interest as far as Chippy Choppy goes. So I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to go ahead and let it be kind of chunky and we'll just chop the block up like that. So that'll be chopped. Wasn't using black though for my accents. I was actually using that black bronze mix. I don't know how much of that actual, well, it's kind of gray toned down because it's got so much of the green blue mixed in it. So that's fine. Okay, so this is going to be 2-1. I'm going to mix this out and then I might pull some of this and add more black. Not soft enough yet. So grumbly. Very crumbly. Oh, we're starting to tone it down. There we go. And you know what? I think we're going to choppy it like that. I think that's what we're going to do. I'm going to take a segment of this for our chippy choppy. We're not going to use it all. Got too much stuff here. I'm going to take some segments of this, especially the funky multicolory bits. And then I'm going to finish mixing this up. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I could add a little more black, but I'm not going to at the moment. So that definitely is a little darker, but I'm going to leave it as it sits because I like it. So yeah, I'm leaving it there. Try to make a little block out of it so it sort of fits in one of these, but I've got too much to fit in there, so it'll have to go in a bigger one. Or I'll just grab some out of there and use it. For the moment, it can sit there. Okay, so we have that. That is a chunkier version. We have these, which are going to be great for chippy chopping up. I like to always add a bit of powder when I'm chopping stuff, especially once I have this black mix in it because it's so soft. I'm also going to integrate some white translucent. A pile of this. I think at some point this was attempted. This stuff's also like notoriously just doesn't want to wake up. So I'm going to just close that in my hand for a minute. And I guess I can just close all of you in my hand for a minute and hopefully you'll warm up to some degree. Might not be a bad idea to get like a little tiny heating pad or something, or a little hot plate. Not hot, but you know, like 80, 90 degrees to set this stuff on and just let it warm up. Actually, might try that once I have puppies. I'll have an incubator going. Chuck it in the incubator and just see see what temp works. I've got clay everywhere now. Well, under the nails. Not even sure how that happens. Goes everywhere. All right. So I want this. I also had mixed in this, which is another one of my favorite colors. It's a Cernet Champagne. It's a metallic. So Cernet Metallic and Champagne somewhere on there. There it is. Champagne is the color. So I like that a lot. I think I might actually mix some of that in with some of this because it's kind of dense and dark at the moment. So I am going to brighten that up a little. So I want like you all to go together. I still want a pile of actual translucent. I'll put a little bit more in that chunk. And Cernet's another one of those that is just notoriously crunchy to start and then so soft it gets absurd. So I think I'm just going to chop you up a little bit and then roll you back together and try to just get you to wake up a touch. Where did my roller go? There you are. I'm definitely going to need that piece of paper to hang around. And again, I probably won't mix this all the way up. Probably leave it with a little bit of texture and funk. So let's see what you do going through the machine. Oh, that's not too bad. It's waking up better than the hot. Yeah, it's fine. Let's hit it one more time. There we go. So we got some more and some less. So we'll throw that in the pile. This still needs to wake up some. just because it's going to fight me in the midst of that texture if I don't get it to soften a hair. When you're working on canes, obviously, and even little blocks like this, you still want some of the stuff to, you want it to be at least somewhat similar in texture. Canes, you want it to be very similar in texture, otherwise, or in, yeah, softness. Otherwise, you end up with parts that move and parts that don't. This isn't that big of a deal, but I'll still end up with a little bit of drama as I stretch this out and flatten it out. I'll end up with hard spots in it and whatnot that don't want to be cohesive, which can be a little annoying. So still want to kind of just get this to wake up a touch. Don't need to start running it through the pasta machine because then I'll end up with plaquing in it. And I don't really want that effect here. So I don't want to get into a big plaquing battle with it. Seems like the best way to deal with that is just as you're rolling it, stretch it a little bit every time you fold it. Stretch it wide, run it through, fold it, stretch it wide, run it through. But I'm getting a little bit awoken up here, so it's all right. Alrighty. Heck did I pick up pinkish color? Where in the world did that come from? I cleaned everything, I swear. I don't use pink. I'm like allergic to pink. It's absurd. All right, so I want a little bit of this in here. I might want a touch more of the translucent. You are packed in there, aren't you? There we go. So this is 3 parts black, 1 part bronze. I don't want much of that. We're going to chop you up really small and coat you with something to make sure you chop up really small. Okay, what else do we want here? I've got the bright teal. What else was I thinking? Is that it? I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. What else? Oh, I had that CG green mixed into here. Do I want to add another tone of teal or green? Not exactly. Eyeballing my Dasha was floating around next to me. My little off white in there, but I don't really want that. It's a shade of teal that's a different shade of teal. Oh, there it is. That's the color I used. That's that forest green mixed down with pearl instead of white. So it's got, if you can find it, there it is. Just a little pearl essence to it. Pretty. No. Eh. No. Could throw a dollop of that in there. I like the tiniest little bit of that in there too. I have enough color variety. Mainstay is this mid-green. I've got my funky others. All right, let's start chippy chopping. I'm going to copper or bronze, and then I had these guys, which rainbow flakes. I'm not sure where I picked these up, but I love these because it's a nice little scrap flake jar. And they've got just a mostly like a golden copper, but then it's got some of this like patina blue and some of the like fuchsia purple. So it's all like patinaed colors mixed in there. So I really like that set. So that's what I mixed in the last time. All right. And again, I find these just seal the best. Lots of mica powders work great. Lots of them seal in. You don't have to worry about, you know, them disappearing or whatever, causing trouble after the fact. But I find these just work amazingly well. So I trust them to hold up the absolute best. Find a little scoober. Dust you because everything sitting around is going to be dusty. And so when clay's super soft like this is, it's extra helpful to throw a layer of mica powder. Probably should have used the bronze one instead of the gold. Oh well, I'll probably mix that in too then. It just helps it to get less sticky and willing to separate. I'm going to throw a dollop of a little bit of the bronze in there too. Why not? you guys. Keep everything close so I don't make a mess. Trying to convince myself to not be a messy creature is hard. When you guys have that trouble with mess and creativity, I swear they go hand in hand. Alrighty, we've got that chopping up nice and small. Very little. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and add a bit of this purple. If I remember correctly, oh gosh, what is this purple mix? Oh, this one I'm not sure because I don't think this is the one I've been making. I think that's just scrap that ended up happening. Similar to what I've been making, but all of that mica powder got absorbed into the cracks and the crevices in there. All right, so you guys are nice and chopped up. Let's go with this guy. Don't think I'm going to throw any silver in this. I think I want to stay all warm colors. Scooper go. And just to help it stay nice and separated. Who is it that calls this Chippy Choppy? Oh gosh, I get so confused on names. It makes me crazy. Play Boutique. I think that's who it was. That's her name for it is Chippy Choppy, and it suits. I like it. Alrighty. So you guys don't need to stay exactly separated because you're all going to get mixed together in a minute. Go ahead and start chopping. Oh, this has enough black in it that it's really soft too. Do a little coating of this. Do in there too. No need to waste any of that. Just smushy it in. Roll around. Get chopped. Oh, this is going to be a little different looking because I'm leaving line. Ooh, well, that'll be fascinating. All right, a little bit of you mixed in. You probably don't need powder because you're crumbly as can be, so you'll just run around and do your own thing. Be centered. I don't think I am going to mix in the chunk with the black in it. I'm going to leave that to the side. I'll probably end up just turning that into a single color because I got so much variety out of this. Actually, you know what? I think that is what I'm going. Well, hold on. Can I be rid of just the darkest layer of you? Not easily. I don't want to add that much more dark into here. How will you chop up? Okay. Yeah, you're worth chopping up and putting into. I just didn't want all that much more dark. Even though it's got some lines to it too, but they're not quite as skinny. So that adds a little bit more variety. Okay. We want to separate out those dark areas and get them to mix in a little looser. Start actually laying some of this around and getting. That is going to be a big block. I did not realize I was making that much of a block. Let's go ahead and chuck a bit more of this in here. So it stays all mixed in. All right, close you up. Okay, go choppy, choppy, chippy, chippy. Around a little bit. All right, we got some more powder everywhere. Could add a little white in here, but I don't think I'm going to. That's going to come through when I start putting the layers in. So I don't think I want a white schmear in here. It's going to be interesting with the striping. I hadn't even thought about that. Alrighty, let's add flakes. tweezers. Tweezers are my favorite tool for flakes. Just help spread them out. Makes it a little easier to kind of open them up when you need to. Ah, sticking to my tweezers because I've got too much clay on my tweezers. There we go. I think we're going to add a little bit more. I'm definitely gonna have to figure out where I got this from because it's like one of my favorites. There, it's like that with that kind of burnt. I'm not sure how they do that to it, but it's pretty. All you in there. Close that back up. Put these things away. Just kind of let it roll around a little. I might chop a little more here in a second, but yeah, maybe not. I think I'm liking the way that's. Some of that light color is awfully. So yeah, this block is going to be a whole different look from what I was already working with. Between adding the purple instead of the sage and leaving the stripes in my teal, definitely gives it a look. But then when I start using it for layering in my mokumegane, it ends up being smeared and marbled more than just straight up block work. So it'll push out a lot of that marbling or that striping and make it look more marbled. So sometimes if you've got a ton of foil in here, it's helpful to add some liquid polymer clay. I usually use a Sculpey translucent for that. But I don't feel like I need it in that because obviously it's all sticking back together really good. Probably the influence of that really soft black that's mixed in with a bunch of stuff. So it's in the purple, it's in the bronze, it's in the most of the blue has some of it mixed into it. So yeah, I kind of start trying to turn it into a brick. I made a lot of that. I hope I really like this. Smush, mush, mush. Sometimes it's nice if I can find my little tiles. There's my little tile. Pardon the reach. The little tile. Just press it, press it. And then you always end up with an extra smattering of like your gold and your foils on the outer layer. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll just skim that outermost layer and use that for something kind of specific. So if I pull that pile back over stuff I was working on earlier, there we go. I pulled it out and just texturized it with, I think it's fossilized coral. But yeah. So that's just straight up chippy chopping. I think I have a log somewhere too that I can bead at. Oh, I did bead. Oh, I forgot all about those guys. Huh, I did these too. A whole nother pile of beads. Yeah, so that's like these guys. So I turned that outer slice off into a log and beaded it. I love these with that fossil with the pebbles. I love the way those came out. Piles of beads. Oh my goodness, I forgot I need to shine these up still. All of the things sitting around. And that's just a little more marbleized scraps. I think that was marbleized scraps. But then that's that log with extra sparkly bits on it. So yeah. That's for that other glass container one. I was looking to put that away. Always the way of it. Scrap over there. So yeah, so I could, because that's got so much metallic to it, and that's not what the rest of it's going to represent. We could cut that off, or we could just leave it be. Let's see. Put everything away that I no longer need, including the cutters. Random rollers that are floating around. All right, so that's the difference between the outside and what's inside. So that's why I usually cut this and turn it into its own veneer, because it's not what the rest of this is going to be. That is a fascinating block with the little swirls in it. That's so fun. All sides get sliced. So now I have a veneer of just that. Let me do there, there, and there. There we go. Oh, roller. I'm not gonna lie, that's cool. That was a fun oops. Again, it's kind of why I like working on camera with you guys, because at least then these weird oopsie things or these weird things I come across without intending to, that maybe oopses, maybe something that just never gets seen but is actually really cool and I forget to go back to it, at least it gets preserved and you guys get to see what happens. So that's one side of that, and that's the other. So I will plop that onto a tile somewhere else and play with that later, because that's not what I want to do now. I want to focus in on, oh, I missed a slice. Go over there with that. All right, so I'm liking it from this edge, all this thicky dark stuff. I'm going to kind of re-chop that up, I think, and marble it a little bit. Separate you a little, so you're not all lined up the way you were off the block. Alrighty. In order to marble it, sometimes it helps to just give it a little extra chop. And just roll it out. And so see, we're starting to get some of that metallic coming back in because it's pulling from all the cracks and crevices, which is pretty. Kind of smush it and smear it and move it around. All right, so that can absolutely be one layer in our Mokumigane. It's got a lot of dark to it, which I like in the moment. But we'll see. Roll it out onto a 5. So we're nice and skinny. And then I'm going to play around with one just kind of as it is. It is less of the dark colors. I still want it to kind of marble up a little bit though. That's got a neat bit of coloration to it. So yeah, I think I'm more fond of the marbly version than just straight off the block. So I'm going to do that. Those look like those will marble up really nicely already. So that's interesting. Side of it is way more, so that's even kind of, I think, what was going on here too. That was a little better mixed. So that's getting more blendy because it's in the middle, I guess. Maybe it got mushed more. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and just chop you up a little bit more and see if I can get you to marbleize just a touch. So I want a more marbly sheet like that. I used the back to cut it. I'm such a dork. And just a little bit more blend of the colors. Come on, you can stick back together. So the point is massive distortion. Just want aim to distort. Mushy, mushy, pulley, pulley, distortion. There we go. And this one has a lot less of the dark in it. A bit of concentrated there, but mostly it's pretty free. That side's pretty clean. Okay, let's roll you through. There we go. That's more what I'm thinking. So we'll start here. That one's good too. And you could stack them, but I am not going to at the moment. Hands feel clay covered. All covered in clay. Where is there's my handy dandy knife holder. I love this thing. All right. So shake off the little Sheeta's crumbly bits. All right. So now we need, I think we're going to go off-white, which this color is the one I mix up all the time and keep it in big old chunks. It is like 2 parts white, 1 part pearl, and like an 1/8 part ecru. Maybe quarter part ecru maybe. But not much ecru, just enough to off the white. And it's got just enough pearl in it that it's got a pretty texture to it, a little sheen to it without being all pearl. Make sure it's as wide as, now I'm going to skinny it down. And then about there, I'm going to cut it in like half. I know I don't need all of that. Too super thin. I want you on the back side. I want to go with that pretty face down. Spread you over that back side. I'm not working with any clean shapes, so this is where it gets just funky to work with. Why are you sticking to my roller and not the clay? Burnish over roller, huh? Okay. Often, if you get it burnished down nicely, you can just pull the edges away. I'm going to leave that green piece over there unmolested because that's ready to do something else with. Stretch it out for another one. All right, and then the question is what color base do we want to work into? I'm not planning on going so deep as to expose the base. I kind of want to play with mostly the blues and cream. Roll this out. Maybe a 2. Stop running away, cream. Knife. Oop. A little extra of you there. Not that it really matters. Okay, went back down to a 5. So we are uber thin. But look at all that pretty patterning and marbling. That's kind of awesome. So, you want a dark backing? I don't think I want to put it straight up into just the cream. I could. You know, there's enough of this that we can absolutely do. Do we want to do 2 different patterns or all one pattern? I haven't even decided what pattern pattern I want to do yet. Ugh, the decision's probably going to do that flower, the not so large flowers again. You know what? Well, no, I've got more patterns, so I can do a different pattern, a different color set. I'm going to do this all in one. So do we want it? You want to just use that dark brown? Dark brown's always pretty. Is there enough purpling in it? There's not a whole lot of that purple didn't show up. Next set has more brown and purple, but that I would want to put into a white. Yeah, there's not enough of that purple in there to be like, oh, definitely purple background. So let's do it on a brown background. Yeah, that is the one I already got out of there. Out. Oh, not on 6. Always check your settings. Trying to fold all that crunchy edge in. That makes it go away faster. Alrighty. We're close in size and shape. Just need to pull you a little wider. I'm actually going to put this face down. Start one corner. Pull you a good little bit. Don't stick down yet. I'm not ready for you to stick yet. Stretching and sizing. There we go. Roller. Burnishing paper. It ran away. So that was a 5 onto a 0, or a 0 onto a 5, whichever way you want to visualize. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Paper towel is what I was grabbing for. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and run this through on a 0 again. Somehow I mushed the ridge in it, but I don't think that matters. So we're at a point where we are much bigger than our file. I guess we could just go diagonal like that. We'll get a little bit of spread from when we go to roll our texture in. We'll get a little stretch. So I'm almost wondering if I shouldn't. That's really pretty though. I don't want to break it up, so I'm going to leave it. And yeah, so we'll just do that. And I was saying, I think the not so large flowers, right? We've got that pattern. Yeah, it was really pretty. Let's just do a pile of this. All right, water. So using rollers, always, 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 always use something to make it release the clay. I keep a spray bottle of water. Some people like Armorall, which I'm sure if you are really struggling with your clay clinging, I think Armorall would be a great option. I've not found that I need anything other than water at the moment. Another good option is you can dust cornstarch onto your clay and then roll through it. Personally, I go with water as a habit because if you do cornstarch, then you can't add the powders. So mica powders or my bronze powders, they won't cling to it because it'll already have a layer of dust clinging to it. So that's where I just started using water because a lot of times I am just rolling a texture and then laying a powder on it. And then the other thing that's helpful is if you stand, that way you can press and try to keep a little more even texture or pressure. I always start in from the edge just a little bit, back roll a quarter turn, and then keep going, or not even a quarter turn, whatever the amount of turn it ends up being is. And as I'm rolling, if I stop, I kind of just give a little hair of a half reverse roll and then keep going. And like I said, as you're rolling, you do push a little bit, so then we ended up totally off, but most of that's uncolored anyway, so that's no matter. And I got a little spot of something caught in there, so I can grab my handy dandy little picker tooler thingy. It's like not even in there. I don't even think that's a groove. Maybe it's a groove. Yeah, it's just a tiny, tiny, tiny little detail that caught a little bit. But whatever. Irrelevant. Okay. Put roller away. Ah. All right. So now that that is rolled in, let's see how amazingly cool that's going to be, because all the flowers and everything pressed down are going to keep that tealy, swirly tonality, and everything raised up is going to be cut away and will either be white or brown depending on how deep we cut. Now I need another tile. I need a place to put all my scraps, because if this is anything like the last batch I did, the scraps are so useful. Put that aside with the other bit that's aside. All right. And start with a flexible blade and go ahead and wipe it. And I like to work with my tile pressed into me sometimes, or on like a nonstick like this guy. But sometimes just having it touching body parts keeps it from pulling back towards me. So I just start slicing away. Oh, you know what I did with the other one? We're going to lose all the shape of our flowers as we're cutting away. As you can see, that's the shavings we're going to get. And I want to maintain the floral nature of it. In order to do that, that means we need a layer of translucent. And I like Cernit better than, that's got some purple in it. All right, where is the block of Cernit? More clay to soften up. You don't need to be there. Where do you need to be? You can go hang over there with the rest of that. The edge of that. All right. I'm just gonna ball that all up because whatever. We need a tile to work on again. You scoot over, touch. You don't need to be out here. Oh my goodness, stuff everywhere. Because I'm dealing with translucent, I should probably wipe. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the compliment on the colors. I am a color junkie. Probably the reason I play with clay as much as I do is the colors are fun. That's probably why I never finish anything unless I have a new color idea. New patterns, new colors, just start playing. All right, let's get ourselves a couple blocks of this. This is the most notoriously hard to condition stuff. This, I believe, is a relatively new block of this, but it has been open for a little while. So I don't know how good it is still, but it'll take us a few minutes and condition this in. If I had thought about the fact that I was going to want to use it, I would have had it preconditioned. Sorry, guys, but I totally went into this just no exact ideas. Mostly, I just wanted to play. And I've been doing that for days without turning the camera on, so I figured I'd turn the camera on for y'all. Okay. Actually, mostly it was because my laptop was still tucked into my travel bag. So I had to get it out and plug it in and remember to do that, and I was just too busy wanting to play. So I'm sorry. My apologies. Sometimes you add an extra step in, and the ADHD brain's like, nah, I do it my way. I do it the easy way. Don't need that. As wide without tearing. It's so dry. It's horrible when it first starts. Yeah. Now we're getting square-ish. Ish. Eek! I'm having trouble with my tiles. Alrighty. A little bit of messy streaks through there, but it's not that big of a deal. Off to the side. Where'd my paper go? I got grime on the piece of paper, so that piece of paper goes in the garbage. We'll start a new one. And it's just printing paper. I buy so much of it for printing orders and stuff. I grab a little stack off of it and cut it in quarters. And that becomes my burnishing paper. There's all sorts of assorted different papers you can use for it. I said I just end up with so much printing paper, it makes sense to just use that. Just rip off most of this so I can save it for later. It's a little dingy, so kind of goes into a chippy choppy pile or something where the little bit of discoloration is an asset, not a flaw. The fun thing about working in a more like natural palette, I'm always aiming for things to not be like crisp and over bright and over neon. And I like everything to have just like a neutrality to it. So sometimes that little, just tiny bit of like there's some metallic in there, there's a little funk in there that will make for some pretty good stuff to use in the future. All right, let's see if we can get that. I like to burnish it in. I'm not trying to burnish to a point where I'm flattening everything, but I want this to have a nice, good stick to it. So there's going to be little air pockets in there and stuff for everywhere the pattern is lower than it. And I still want a good stick down. I don't want to overly flatten the pattern because I still want enough raised so that I can slice off what I want to slice off. Okay, back to our flexy little actual tissue blade. And it makes it a little harder to figure out the depth you want to cut to because you end up cutting a little bit deeper. There we go. So these will make really cool shavings to put on stuff. So we'll absolutely keep those. When I am working this way, the true goal is really to get like perfect shavings as well as what's left behind. That's not long enough or quite deep enough to really, you see how I lost some of the detail there. So I'm going to try to find some of the flowers. And I'm going to try to shave it off in a way that it's going to keep the outline of those flowers. That's better. That's much better. So, and I take this, the translucent, just about it. Oh, I don't want to take that off. You stay down. Take it just about as thin as I possibly can. And sometimes, if I have the time to, I can stretch it, or if I think about it, I stretch it before I put it down. Oh, see, now that's going to be really pretty. That's kind of my goal here, is to get these nice long stripes where they actually pick up a good bit of the detail without getting so deep that I start taking away chunks out of there. Perfect. So now what's cool about this is whatever color I use to back it, all the translucent, the flowers are translucent at the moment. So I don't know if I can show that in any way. Maybe I can. Let's try this. Flashlight on my watch. Eek, I can't get it at an angle. So there you go. You can see that the space in between the flowers is translucent. So whatever color I put behind that will show up slightly. Yeah, that's a really good streak of that. Whatever color I put behind that will show up in will show through the flowers. So that's where the color actually matters, what you put behind it, which is why I do that bit of translucent. I bother with that, is because then it turns these into things that you can continue to use. Where otherwise it would just be a pile of scrap cutting offs. So like when I go to clean this up a little bit, it's not all going to come off in a way that's going to be overly usable. So see how all that wants to fall apart. So I might have little pieces of it I could use, but it's just going to be more drama than usable. So that's why I like doing that layer of translucent, because that lets me take it off. And if I can get in a good position where I can't, I've got it up against my body and I can pull into myself. And I'm going to try. I feel like that's getting a little deep, and that's getting a little deep. So I'm going to shimmy up out of that and try to come up a little and not cut. Ooh, it still feels deep. And yep, that particular line is going to be dark. There we go. Now I got back up to where I wanted to be. So you'll see through a lot of that. This has got a lot less that you'll see through. And then for the pattern, the goal is I want that white behind with the flowers showing. I don't think any of that's going to be reusable because it's just too like chunky and funky. It'll make a good scrap log, but it's not going to be. I love the way that's looking. I'm actually not going to clean that up much more. I'm going to grab this where there's a bit of translucent because I don't really. So some of that, the translucent was actually pressing into. That might be usable. Let me separate that out. Maybe not. Not that way. Okay. So yeah, that little bit of translucent fill in might be interesting too. That might give us some cool little texture funkiness. Alrighty, so I'm going to actually flip this around so I can maintain that little bit of tension against my body and try to get the long stripes here. So right there's the start of a flower. I come out of it. Could be a little deeper. The hardest thing is figuring out the feel of the depth. And then because I've got that funky, ooh, that's pretty. That's a gorgeous spot right there. Didn't even be trying to save that as scrap. None of that looked usable. But, alrighty, let's see what I can do. So that's not pressed down, so that's giving me a little grief. Where'd my little tile go? Just to get that to catch and hold so it doesn't try to follow me. I hope I'm doing a better job at keeping my voice in the microphone today, too. I've been trying really hard to keep that in the corner of my mind to stay aimed at the camera. That's a really pretty stretch. And let's go through here, down. That's going to be super pretty through there, too. Yeah, I like the section where there's the more. I'm running out of room. I'm going to need another tile. Yeah, I'm going to need another tile. Okay. Need room for another tile. Man, that's coming out pretty. Another tile. That's what another tile is for. Man, those are cool. Eee, stuck on me. No, no. Lay it down. Don't stick. I need to wipe my fingers off. Too much clay goo. So, design principles. Theory on design principles. I don't like kind of the same theory of color, where I don't want color to be just bright Crayola out of the box colors. I want some funk to it, something that just, it's a little earthier, a little more organic, a little less, a little less straight lines. It's the same way I like my patterning to come out. So I guess that's why I like what I'm so drawn to Makumegane, which is what this kind of technically is. This would be called a controlled Makumegane. The reason I'm so drawn to this is the absolute organic feel. So every little spot is something different. Every little spot is just pulled or pressed or compressed, or the colors are different. The depth is different. Everything just has these little moments of uniqueness to them. And overall, it just makes a beautiful, beautiful slab. Like seriously beautiful slab. As compared to, let me find my samples of what I was working on earlier. Here we go. As compared to like, even these are good, but, and I didn't keep the full slab. I don't think I have anything. No, I turned the slab into something. Oh, I have, don't I have pieces? Maybe they're here. There they are. Okay, there we go. So, where even though these are Mokume and they have that little bit of like that feel of non-compliance, still the color palette is simple. It's just green on white into the cream. As actually, I think it's a light green into a dark green into a white into the cream. So there's still something there. There's visual interest there, but it's not what this is. It doesn't give you that just insane shift and change and interaction of color and shape and pattern and difference. So like there's some places where I can come in here and I could clean these up a little bit. If I go to press it all super flat, I would want to make sure I expose some of the white into here. But if I keep the depth of the patterning on that, that's really pretty. So yeah, that's like I said, that's my kind of my design theory on life is I want it interesting. I don't want it just straight up plain simple by the books. You know, it's like I was one of those. It's like I wasn't a coloring book girl. I was a sketchbook girl. It's like I didn't want everything to be within the lines. It's actually really funny chatting with my sister up at the wedding. Like as we're designing and doing stuff, it's like, yeah, it's like we have such similar but different attributes. You know, our whole family does. We're all creative, but it's all different. I'm the oldest. Next brother is computer geek extraordinaire. Like he is having so much fun with the creativity of AI. It's absurd. Like the things that this kid, he's almost as old as I am, uh, in his 40s. But anyway, it's just he figures out how to make them things, and like he's giving them personalities, and he's got all these AI dudes that do all the stuff for him, and you know, so he's got AI assistants assisting his AI assistants, and it's like absolutely absurd. But again, that creativity, that ability to just like pull something in and make it work, make it work for you. He's a little bit more of those rule follower type, but he's still got he likes to manipulate the system. So that's his like superpower in it. My other brother will not follow any rule. He's the next one in line. And he's just like he's mechanic extraordinaire. It's like you get him working on a vehicle or whatever. It's like he's in there welding, he's shaping, he's building, he's coming up with all these again, just the designs, the plans, all the stuff to figure out how to make it work the way he thinks it should work. And he does. He's the one with the really artistic 5-year-old that likes to make messes out of all my clay. And then my baby sister, she's, you know, taken a career in graphic design and website building. And like I said, so her creativity and mine, she's extremely creative, but her creativity and mine are so different because she's the graphics one. So she has an eye for where the straight lines need to be and how to make it rigid and solid and all, you know, that kind of stuff. So, and then there's me with my like absolute just insanity of like, oh, what happens when? And I don't want the straight lines. I want all this funk, this I think these are amazing, by the way. Um just yeah, just all the change and the colors, and nothing is in a straight line and nothing is, you know, digital. It's all super 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 organic. Even when it comes to like lettering, I'm not as good. When it comes to, that's what it was. We were painting in a sign. My mom had my brother and my sister help 3D engineer and AI design a new sign for their property here for that neighborhood up there. And my brother had to program it to get it onto the CNC machine so that my dad could cut it all out of one solid piece of wood. And my man Daryl was here watching pictures as we're all, going through this project together through the group text. And he's like, "How are you going to paint that in?" I'm like, flood it. So apparently their outdoor paint was not floodable, and mom didn't want to water it down to make it flood. So we're all up there with our little tiny paintbrushes trying to make the upper letters or the top parts be one color and the bottom indents be another, and then having to try to get that clean edge. And so I'm just out with my sister watching them work on it. And like so I got the part where it's like they wanted to turn part of it into wood grain. So mom's like, "Can you do it?" I'm like, "Am I allowed to paint over the letters I'm trying to paint behind? I'll repaint it." She's like, "Yes." So I made a mess of what they already painted. So then I'm sitting there having to fix it and paint it all back, and I'm like having to be so meticulous in all these straight lines. And I look over at my sister, I'm like, "This isn't me." She, she's doing another section of the painting where it's like she's got all these great straight lines and all this neatness. I'm like, "I can't do it." It was so funny, cracked me up. But yeah, so artistic theory. There's a million ways to be artistic. This is mine. Yeah, this absolutely suits me. I love this. I love the way this is coming out. So now my issue right now at the moment is this had gotten really thin. So we started out at a 0. We did add a little bit of whatchamacallit. We did add that translucent over top, but we still rolled it thinner by using the texture roller, and then we cut it thinner. And at the moment, I'm infatuated with these, again, go back to that one. I like these fat ones. I don't know why. At the moment, fat is my thing with the rounded edges. It changes every other day. But, yeah. So I'm thinking I need to back this. And I guess I have to back the whole thing again. I'm a little tempted to cut it, but I don't want to mess up any of the patterning because there's so much patterning. So maybe I'll line up 2 tiles. So let me place this tile out of the way. And I might have one more. I'm sorry, I bumped you guys. Trying to keep. I do have another one. I need to go start shopping Dollar Trees and see if they have these still anywhere because I think my local one has not in a while. Yeah, so I'll have to do it like that. So glad I have more of this brown made up. I could have done the purple. There's just enough of that purple peeking through now that we're really stretched out, but I think I'll stick with the brown because it's already the brown. And I'm not sure that I have enough of this, but hopefully I do. So fortunately, I had one more of these made up. Right width on a 0, not on. You can get set away elsewhere too at the moment. So because of packing boxes and everything else, I tend to have a big wide open table available to me for packing and organizing and planning. And when I actually have it cleared off, I have a place to throw all the stuff while I'm working. Even though my table's huge, my craft table is enormous. It is loaded with stuff. So yeah, again, crafting is just such a crazy thing, messy thing. All right, start on a 0. Up right width. All right, I'm gonna have to see if I have some more of this somewhere. I probably should clean out those blades because we were messing with light colors and apparently I made it messy. All right. Let's see how much damage we can do in one session of clay. Yep, messy. The rollers. Oh, scrappy clay off of that. Okay. One more thing I've noticed is they've got a knot there. I always try to put that to the outside. Sometimes if that's on the inside, it'll show up on your clay. It'll be just like if you like bring it outward, it'll just show up in there. So I try to make sure. Man, those were messy. You can use baby wipes. I find that these guys are just fine. But yeah, so I always put that nub to the outside. That's one other thing I try to acknowledge when I'm cleaning. I am so grateful that Atlas upgraded these with those new bars, though. That makes all the difference in the world. Let's see if I can find some more of that brown. I should have some made up somewhere. If not, Plenty of bronze. Or black. Sorry, guys. I thought I had plenty of that made up. Didn't realize I was going this big. I could just cut it in half and then have plenty made up. Ugh. How much of the cream do I have? I've got plenty of the cream. Can I cut it right there? I don't want to. But I think I can. And then I'll back that in cream. I'll back that in brown. Okay. And I don't have to make stuff. You can go back away. Away. Be gone. All right. Knife. Scalpel. I am in a mood today, aren't I? I'm thinking right there, as awkward as that's going to be to back. I'm thinking that distorts less pattern because I like that and I like this. And I like that. So I'm going to give that a shot. So I want this to be on this one and I'm going to put that on the off-white. Should be able to get that to pull and fit. Nope, I gotta go that way because that's where I've got that little bit of extra length for my diagonal. I just want to make sure I have that covered. It's kind of half the point of cutting it that way is to make sure I could use that. There we go. Okay. Put you aside. And I'm running out of room in my spare table. It's absurd how much space you can end up using. It's just absolutely out of this world how much space you can end up using. Oh yeah. So let's just get rid of most of the rest of this. I don't need to discolor it or cause it trouble. Be gone. All right. Back in your pile. I don't even know where your Tupperware went. You give me one. A blue spot on my hand. A random blue spot of clay. How does that happen? My nails are too long still too. Had them done for the wedding, and he did a great job. He's a random nail tech up in North Carolina. My sister found a good salon. I was impressed, but I let him leave them long because of the wedding, and I've already filed them down once, and they're still like so long. So yeah, I'm gonna have to take the Dremel to him probably. And slow down. Okay, so I don't want to rub out the texture through there because the texture through there kind of makes it. I am going to take a flexible blade, not the firm blade, and get rid of the rest of this now that we are not hanging off the corner. I don't know that any of that's going to be usable. There is a purple flower there, so maybe. Yeah, maybe. Probably not. Oop. That doesn't even have pattern because it was falling off the thing. Not really usable, but you guys just all need to go over to the other side. I need to go away. I don't need you right now. Wait. For everybody. Oh no. All right. Okie dokie. So I think. I like all that. Not too flat. I want some of the depth to remain. So these guys here are really kind of awesome. This here is really pretty. That I might slice through a little bit more, we'll see. And then all this blue over the brown is really pretty. So the main things I want to go after is I want to get this one. Pick a cutter now. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Are you teardroppy? I think your teardrop. Yeah, your teardrop. Current favorite has been this guy. I like these. How big are you? Bigger than that. Probably there. Oh, yes. So again, discussing art theory. I could let that stem go straight up the middle. And it's boring. I can take it a little more 3/4 and let that stem travel from left to right. And it's got a little more visual interest. But somewhat of the elements that I'm most infatuated with is like all this depth in here. Something about that actually looks really good too, even though I'm losing the artisticness of that stem. I'm picking up this really pretty effect of swirls, too bigger, too smaller. Or I can try to leave that for over there. And take my stem. Yeah, the diagonal that way doesn't work. If I'm going to diagonal it, it's like right there. I also want enough above that I can put my, or actually this might be deep enough. I can take my whole sideways in it, or I can put something in the back. I think I like that. Yep, I think that's it. So, where's my plastic? And I think I have described this already, but these are essentially just the baggies that I ship my rollers in. And they make really, really good plastic wrappy things. I don't want that going too straight. Right. Nice and fat and beveled. Sweet. I messed it up a little bit with that second punch through, so I'm going to have to do something with that. I do find that to be a flaw in using the plastic wrap is often I'll get a second edge when I go to take the plastic wrap off and recut it, because the plastic wrap like pulls and rolls the cutter in a little bit, and then not having the cutter on it rolls it out and allows it to poof out. So I am finding there's a little bit of shape cleanup. Well, you know what I didn't do is I didn't texturize the back of that. Rats. And I also find that you get a little puffy top and bottom, and it gets a little lower in the middle. So sometimes I'll just play with that and try to punch it back up. Okay. Little scrap, go away. Just put you on the scrap tile. Because I have one of those. Okay. So next piece was something in here, wasn't it? Almost like there's two somethings here. I really like that. I also like that. I don't know that there's, oh, yep, that sweeps up most of that. It's a big pendant, but Yeah, I think we'll go with that. That's my crossbar. Settle in. There we go. All right. Yeah. I actually get it through. I did well enough. Okay. So now that we've got all this scrappy messiness, probably won't go past there. Probably won't go past there. Probably won't go past there. Scrap tile. Okay. I like both of those a ton. That's so pretty. Buff it a little with the fingers. Try to play out that little dip in the middle. Get it to level out. I'm actually going to curve blade and just clean that edge up. The other edge looks good. And scrap plate. Okay, so now I have two really pretty pieces. I'm going to give it just the tiniest little bit of burnish. There we go. I don't think you guys can quite see what I'm seeing there, but there's just a little like raise on the outside and dip in the middle. Oh, it's really hard to see. Man, those are pretty. Okay. So now, do we do earrings yet? Or do we see if there's another? Oh, there's definitely another pendant in here. And it is right there. And what shape are you? I don't know that you're another. Could be. I'm thinking. Where's my rounded rectangles? Maybe the wider one. That's going to be big and not it. And so maybe the wider one. You. Millimeter. That does catch all of it, but I don't know if I have enough. Make one size smaller. Yeah, there you are. Remember, there's that little bit of translucent that's floating on top in a few of those petals that'll disappear. So that'll actually add to the effect of funk. I think I'm going to do right there. Ooh. You. Just like that. I think these help stabilize the shape a little bit so I don't get as much of that coming in effect. Always a little wiggle wiggle helps it. Pull you up. Yeah, that worked better. Okay. Pretty sure you and you are not going to be useful. And now to find some earrings. The other thing I can do too is because I'm planning on making beads with all the scrap of this, I can probably just use like beads to make earrings out of too, which I don't do that enough. I want to start playing with that anyway. Okay, so for this shape, I like to go not the same width. I like to go the one width in at least, if not the more narrow. Both of those. So actually, I like this better. There's the size in between if I can find it. Come here. Oh my. I was in trouble. Oh yeah, so I think that's the one that's, no, maybe it was the one size down. Yeah, so that will work there. And probably there. Go with those. So yeah, one of the other options, like the one more narrow, does end up being kind of big. Oh, so it's this one. That's the one that I tend to use as the one more narrow. I actually like that better, I think. Yeah, we'll do that. Them away if I'm not using them. And my rounder thingy. And I want that pair of flowers. A bit of that creamy. And over here, there was a pair of flowers. The shape of that. So, yeah, you're right. So we're going right there. Down. Wiggle, wiggle. Yeah, those did get sharp, didn't they? Those are working. All right, I don't think there's anything there we're gonna want. And then hopefully we can get 2 more pairs. For one of you are gonna have to be a dangle. And let's see. So we don't need these. We don't need those. So those can all go away. I still need to get those listed online for you guys, don't I? Probably going here. Probably going. That's a little big. So where is that tray? It's 110s. Oh, I've got that other option too. Where is my 110s tray? Oh, there they are. Nope. That's so weird. I lost the tray of cutters. Wait. There it is. Maybe. No. No. Those might work. Okay. Let me try these. These are a little more narrow. So that's 110. Oh, wait. That's 101, 102. Oh, no. That's different. That's not what I want. So the difference in these shapes are these are more rounded bottom, and these are cut a little bit more angular. So I don't want those. I'm not sure why those were sitting out separate, but they're going away. I have no idea where that tray went. I know I had it with me in the mountains. I know it came back from the mountains. But I don't see where it is. So either this size or this size, which is awfully small. I don't know if we'll be able to get enough details in there to get any flowers or anything. Oh, that's really good. So little though. I want the size in between, which is why I make the size in between, because that's big for an earring. That's little. And now I'm mad because I know it exists. Wait, wait, oh, hallelujah. Okay, so the size I'm complaining about is I have a 30 and I have a 40. I want a 35. That's 45. Trio. You're 45. Where's your 35? 35, right? That's the size. See? That's why I make the half sizes too, because I'm spoiled. I turn into a brat when I don't get what I want. I knew it existed. I was not willing to accept that it didn't exist. Okay, so that's going to be like one perfect earring. And then the question is, am I going to be able to match that with another one? Okay. So where else I have flowers? Wow, that's like perfect. All right. So maybe there. See why I needed exactly this size? Let's see if I can't draw you up and that way just a touch so that I can get you in there. Really picky, I could make that work. I don't know how much I want to press that into. I'm going to go from behind. That's going to be where that's going to attach. So if it's not firmly attached in, you guys able to see what I'm doing? So I'm just trying to make sure that those clays all attach. And there's a touch of pink there, so I'm going to dig you out. Bring you back over. And bury the hole. Finish from here. Now I can drag you into that just a little, but don't misshape my flower. I want the flower, that's the whole point. And I don't want it too burnished because I don't want to burnish this. There we go. In a little. There it is. Okay. Where is that shape on here? Oops. Yeah. Already existing shape in that way. Okay. In we go. And these are fat little earrings. I like them. All right. Sorry, guys. When I start concentrating, I get mumbly and lose my volume projection. Okay. Yes. That is a fantastic set of earrings. And that would go with either one of those. Let me see if I've got enough to do another pair of anything. I like those with that. I don't want to pick up too much of the big brown chunks. What I might do is just grab where it's colorful and swirly and has enough match. A little burnish. Trying to make sure I pick up all those light colors down there. Oh, you did. Okay. And because I'm playing on the colors, I'm going to grab that there, I think. One little flower down there, but that's not going to work. Something floral-esque to that. Let's see. Ta-da! Yeah, those work. They are not as obvious, but as earrings, how often people actually look that close? They should work fine. All right, so we'll have that. And make sure I am happy with the shape on all of these. These are nice. A little bit of yeah, I like the shape of those. Nice and fat and round. Those don't exactly match, but I don't think I'm going to get a better match, so. Cool. All right, in the oven. All right, I will mess with the other one later on my own. So let's bring you guys back. We're going to rebuild. I need another tile. Need everything put away. That's what happened is that teardrop, mid-sized teardrop tray is mislabeled. And that's why I couldn't find it, is it's not built for it yet, so I need to go build that at some point. I actually should probably set that aside. So, as a note to self. Do any of you guys do that? Leave stuff out and about as kind of a note to self? Like, hey, deal with this. Problem is I do that too often and there's stuff everywhere. And I don't deal with any of it because I'm overwhelmed because there's stuff everywhere. All right, so this will make a cool bead roll just as it is. So, sorry, I need to pull my computer back around so I can make sure I see what I'm staying on camera at least for you. That's not a piece of this. You go there and stay there. Alrighty. So what I do is I just start pressing, trying to keep it all face up and just pressing these parts all back together. So I'm just kind of keeping it, just soft focus on it, not paying too much attention to what I'm doing. Just kind of shoving everything in. Again, I'm going for that organic feel of just colors and textures and blending. This has a ton of brown to it. So I think some of that excess brown areas I'm not gonna put in. Just gonna rip you there. Let's see. Don't mind you. The rest of that I don't want. Yeah, see, that's got enough color to it, even though it's chunkier. It's still visually interesting, where the other part was just too brown. Keep you off there because then you'll fit there. Actually, stick into there. Fill in some of that over. And then wasn't there one more chunk? Yeah, you. Oh, there's a little bit more. And we need to sit on top of all of that. Back up. And there we go. Now, have that, which will make a nice, let's just scrap. Just scrap. Oh, yeah. Roller, there you are. Because we fatten that up so much. It's fat. Oop. Now, to be honest, it's so pretty. Could make pendants out of that, but I think I'm just going to turn it into a roll. Yeah, that's a roll. So, you enough for a core. It's so fat, but it needs enough to roll around that it'll, yeah, no. And I don't want to cut it in half or stretch it too terribly much. I'll throw a little bit more of this brown. Actually, where's black? I don't need to waste any copper. Save you for later. This is why I keep just the big chunks of black and white and whatnot, is when the color doesn't actually matter, not overly, because it's going to be inside of something. Now this actually, if I cut them in the long ways beads, you might get a peek of the black at the end. So I might have to decide if I want to shape them up or what. But that would be the perk in coring it with its own color is then when you cut away, you're self-colored. So mm, here, I want rid of some of that. Pull you out of there and close you up on yourself. Too much brown. Else there? I think there's too much brown there too. Pull you out of there. Come on, you know you want to come out. There you go. And then close you up on yourself. And I think that works. So this could have a handful of uses. At the moment, I am thinking fat bead. So again, it was black in the middle. You can just pull the edges over and roll it into a bead. And then find where the colors swirl, and that was your center points. And it makes a great fat bead. So that may be what I do with those. Might roll it down. I could spin it and swirl it, but I don't want to do that because I like the marbling and all the colors. So, and I think if I even roll it down too much, it's going to get too elongated and become streaks that way. Just kind of fatten back in a little, marbleize it on its little core. But yeah, that's a neat just chunk of pattern. So the other thing you can do is like if there's a spot on here you like, you can kind of shape it out, teardrop it, and then press it down and turn it into a pendant of sorts. I'm just playing with the marbling patterns and stuff. I'm going to keep it around though. I hope I didn't mess up my top and bottom pokey points. That helps when it comes time to drill center in. Yeah. Another thing that helps to do is if you stack a few of these all laid out and rolled up or whatever, you can set them on paper and then set another piece of paper and then you can kind of press them down like that. And one more thing you can do. It's been a while since I've done lentil beads. Let's see. Just kind of allow it to get triangular. Encourage the triangular shape. And it encourages that swirl when you do them. The longer you roll it, the more of a swirl you get to it. Personally, I would kind of flatten it a little bit now. So little circle flattens it, wider circle gets your lentil shape. Little swirl kind of flattens it back down again. There you go. So that would be fun too to string up, either run sideways or put a thing through it. And again, you could even reshape and turn it into a pendant if you want, or whatever it is you want to do with it. So leave that sitting aside and play with that later. But yeah. And then one thing I do want to do, how much more of that brown do I have? Not enough. Still not enough. do it on the cream. We'll do it on cream. All right. You can decide. Actually, no, I got one of those boxes. I don't want you getting messed up. Picking up scraps. So you just stay aside. Stick you in there too, because I will reach you and play with you later. What I do want is blank tile. Let's clean it up. All the scrappy stuff. Probably not snagging those scraps. I don't know if you can see the scrap plate I have, but there's a scrap plate there. Fine. How long have we been going? Another 2 hours again. Sorry, guys. I don't know if you enjoy the longer format or if it becomes tedious. You can skip through and see what I'm messing with. At some point, the goal is to break these down into smaller videos. But again, ADD and a billion things to do. So at least I'm getting things recorded and sharing information because that's the fun part. And eventually, I will make it easier to access or find someone who wants to do that. Water's always good. All right, so we are going to the creamy stuff. Could do my blacky dark purple. I thought I had more of that sitting around somewhere, but I'm not. Oh, it's in a bin under a thing. Okay. I could do it over the dark purple too. Part of me is tempted to, but I think it's gonna be enough of the creamy. I think so. And I'm gonna go ahead and roll that out to start those away. Everything away. Did wipe that. Yes. Wipe my hands. I need baby wipes for my hands. Yeah. A little bit of color mixed in there is not the end of the world. Okay. So, get you to roll into a tube. I'm going to need one more tile, and that is my last of them. So, anything I can empty? Yeah, that's about right size. And much easier to do that with a little roller. I don't know why it works so much easier with the little roller, but feeling that seam up. Knitting needles available on Amazon, or I think I ordered these on, what was it, Shein? Oh, no, not Shein. Temu. What was the one before Temu? AliExpress. That was it. Seems like Temu's the thing now, though. Or maybe they're all the same thing. I don't know. Okay, so got similarity in size. See if I can get all these scraps off of here. Oh, and yep, getting to be lunchtime. Oh, that's the easier one to clear. Okay, I do have an extra tile. Oop. And you guys sit over there. Okay, so I want the extra tile is I can whoop, use it to roll this out. And I'm using two of them together. It's easier to make sure I'm a relatively even width. Looks like I had a little more pressure on the right than the left. On the left and the right. There we go. Okay, so we look nice and even that way. I think I'm going to put those on while it's still in a roll, and then I will. No, actually, the last one I flattened first, and it worked good. Yeah, I will flatten. It might be why I had trouble sizing. I'm gonna leave it rolled. Okay. Then we grab these guys, and kind of thinking putting it on purple, but I can use the ones that have a little bit more. Yeah, it's fine. I'm not going to take advantage of the color change because there's already so much color going on. And yes, I have hit the point where I need a meal. So like that. And just stick it on, load it up. Spare detail. Oh, there. All right, so we're just going to start with this top side. And the next bit that I want for that. I guess this guy. Pretty floral in shape, so I don't actually want to lose that. Jump around. Pull you back so I don't lose that. There we go. Tappy tappy, roly roly. So the goal with these is they're going to be laid flat. You're not going to see much of the back of them. And I don't have tons and tons and tons of shavings, and I want to save those to do pendants out of or put them over the purple because I want that over the purple. So, do I bother filling up the back of this? I don't really have enough scraps to do it. I think I'm going to actually just leave it white because I don't think it's going to matter. All right, so those aside. Tile. And we're going to do a roly-roly thing again. Make sure that's all set in there nicely. Okay. Once we're happy with that, flat as possible. Where's my fattest ones of these? I thought I had fatter. Okay. I need to print more of these. But I think we want those. So if you have guides with guides, those are about 9mm. Forgot to go diagonal because we're longer than 8 inches here. And then we can press until you're very, very definitely on both rollers and there's no wiggle. And it's stuck, so you have to convince it to peel off, and it peeled the other way. All right, lay you back down. I actually kind of do want to try to get you as flat as possible, as straight lined as possible, so that my cuts come out better. Okay. All right, so there we go. Now that pile is back to extra. Yay! There's an extra. I need to finish building out that guide setup too. To a side. Okay. So now we can use our handy dandy little lines on here. I do have the measurement marker thingy, but it will mark more often than I want to cut. So I need to also build that out longer. Apparently. Next thing on my list of things to do. Yeah, so we're definitely happy to start with this little flower right here. And I think as fat as these are, I think they'll look best in like a 1-inch increment. So we'll go ahead and cut you at 1 inch. And then the next inch looks good to me. Next inch cuts right in the middle of a flower, but it's top and bottom flower. And then it's also nicely spaced, so I like that. Then I'm going to flip this around. And yeah, I'm just going to start because our bottom kind of is odd. A little bit of a flower here, but mostly that's just weirdness. So part of me wants to start. Maybe we have one, they're an inch each. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I guess I will just cut them as they are. Some of this is way more loosely defined. didn't want to cut in the middle of, though. So I think I'm just going to cut you at. I'm going to cut you out, and then I wanted that one to be complete. There. Okay. So I can either usually so far actually I think I want to put them face down this time because get a little bit no face up. So give them a little just light buffing. You could grab just a little bit where they're not exactly laid down tight. So I am gonna grab my paper. Buffy buffy. Buff buff. Okay. And then I'm going to set them that is scrap away. Set them on some cardstock. And sometimes I pull these ends in a little bit, but honestly, I think I'm going to leave them as they are and try not to muck with the shape too much. And then I drill them after. And what's nice, because they're so nice and flat cut ended, they're pretty easy to drill, especially with the drill press option. Nice bit of curvature in at those ends. And adjust that with a Dremel later too if I choose to, but that one's particularly pretty. So is that. They're all definitely some level of visually interesting, which is awesome. Way down there. Need varnish. Oop, no! Get back here. Oop. Yeah, that one's really good too. Very pretty. Alrighty. You got a chunk of color on the back. Whoops. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to burnish. And yep, that'll do. Wow, that one's just stunning pretty. You got that, didn't you? Eh. One arrow. Set that down. Burnish back out. Not better. Okay. Up in the oven with you. So have room on that glass tile. Little glass tile. Wherever you ended up with this one. Okie dokie. And those will need a while in the oven. So, where are we now? I guess we could be done. Apparently, my coordination's starting to slip. So, probably time to be done. What do we have to kind of recap? Is I'll have this to play with. So I can cut out some more stuff out of that or just roll it up into a bead thing, but I think I'm going to use the other cuttings over purple. Like, I'm very excited to see how that works out. I think we're going to put these over that dark purple because they're nice and bright and light colored. mostly. Granted, all the brighter white is actually translucent, but all of this picked up a lot of lighter yellows and gold and stuff we put in there. So yeah, that actually would be really pretty on long beads too. It's probably enough between that and that to do the backing on it. But yeah, I'll probably play with that at some point. But yeah, so that's kind of where this project's at. I'll probably bring you guys back when I get those guys out of the oven at some point, or once I'm working on something else. And we'll just keep tinkering with this project for a little bit. But I definitely need to go take a break, grab a bite to eat, let the dogs go run amok because they're actually all passed out. Wow, like everybody's sleeping. Mid-afternoon nap time. Maybe I'll take a nap with the dogs. That's always a good idea. Alrighty. Well, I hope you all have a great weekend and happy crafting.